to our breakfast seminar, and I think we should start. Give me 1 second. Okay. So today we'll talk about the indicators of compromise, their life cycle, and some approaches for their evaluation during the threat hunting and threat intelligence as well. My name is Oleksii Baranovskyi. I am senior lecturer in Department of Computer Science in BIDA of Blekinge Technical University. I got a huge amount of different certifications, and for now my interest in research as well as applied in cloud security, in DevSecOps practices, and of course in digital forensic. During the PROMIS project, I teach the next courses. It's a penetration testing and ethical hacking, new course, advanced forensic and web system security are ready courses, and some of our attendees of today's seminar already passed through web system security and now are in advanced forensic course that is on the way. So let's start with today's topic. What are the indicators of compromise? I think you're familiar with this, that any indicator of compromise, it's a piece of data, a clue that can be used to indicate an intrusion, or compromise in previous time. Of course, compromise, it could be host, whole network appliance, application, etc. But what could give us IOC? Of course, first of all, using the IOC could give us understanding of TTP, tactics, techniques, procedures used by malicious agent, by attacker. If you are not familiar with TTP, I suggest to visit a Mitre attack matrix and clarify the different approaches, used tools, used techniques, and of course, even procedures with different APT groups, etc., etc. Of course, indicator of compromise not only could help us to understand what's going on or how we've been compromised, but also clarify the severity of the incident, because different indicators on different system levels could indicate about the different severities. For example, some exploiting of eternal blue vulnerability in the main controller or in accountant computer, it's a different. That's a different incidents according to the severity and the level of. And of course, indicators of compromise could help us to understand how to respond, handle, and mitigate the current incident best way. And indicators of compromise could be used to attribute the cyber attack, to understand who attacker was, which group it was, etc. Today, we have, according to the Mitre and different researchers, FireEye, Mandiant, Cisco Talos, we have different APT groups. So I'm talking about the organized groups with stable approaches, with stable TP, used special applications or malicious campaign, etc. Of course, we have a classified set. Our vendors has classified set of them, and based on different indicators. For example, indicators of compromise, but different attributes. Sorry, but sometimes they could classify one group in several several different APT, because this campaign was done with let's say emailing, those with instant messaging, etc. But the thing is that we could use indicator of compromise to attribute the attacker. But interesting thing that besides the indicator of compromise, we have new definition, indicator of attack. What does it mean, and what's the difference between indicators of compromise and indicator of attack? Frankly speaking, they are very similar. they are similar, but indicator of compromise gives us retrospective view. So what happened in our infrastructure, what has happened in the past, and indicators of attacks give us understanding what's going on, what's happening now, and why. And if we could combine them, that's a different approach. First, it's retrospective forensic and so on, and second is on the fly analysis, real-time analysis. But what's the difference in values, in these pieces of data, in clue? The thing is that, frankly speaking, there is no difference. They are the same. It's the same set of attributes. For example, IP address of CNC could be recognized as indicator of compromise if we have found it in previous logs, or indicator of attack if we have tracked the activity between one of our hosts and this IP address on the fly. So difference just in time-based analysis. According to this, different information sharing platforms recognized IOC and IOA as an just set of attributes of attack. And it doesn't matter was the attack in the past or it's on the way. One of the biggest platform that we used in our current cybersecurity activities is MISP, Malware Information Sharing Platform. It became as platform just to share information about malware and their attributes, but for today it became maybe not so malware information sharing platform as threat information sharing platform. Of course, for today we have a huge amount of different feeds, including Cisco, FireEye, IBM X-Force, Checkpoint, almost any cybersecurity vendor, especially vendors with next generation firewalls, with IDS, could provide this feed with, let's say, with different indicators. But MISP is free and one of the most well-known and used by not only by commercial entities, but also by governments to share information between governmental entities, etc. So, from MISP perspective, we have attributes of attack. It's a boss, as I said, indicators of compromise and indicators of attack. And according to the different, these different attributes could be some categorized, with, for example, attribution of attack or could be found in artifacts, could be detected by antivirus, are they related to the financial fraud, etc. Please take a look to the list. It's just a part of MISP taxonomy. By the way, if you're interested in to understand full taxonomy of the threats and attributes, I suggest you to just Google to MISP attributes taxonomy, and you will be followed to the page with all list. Take a look. For example, IP addresses, but IP destination address or IP source address. Destination source port looks like a 5-tuple, but also a value in hexadecimal format, a hostname and port, combination of hostname and port. It could be a separate IOC, a separate attribute. Last name of the natural person, or just link or MAC address. So, as I said, set of attributes which could be recognized as indicator of compromise, as indicator of attacks, or in general attributes of threat, regardless what the threat is. And what's the problem with this indicator of compromise? All right, we have, for example, several sources, vendor-based or free-based or governmental-based, and they share the information, the IOC, with some level of confidence. Yeah. So we could trust, for example, Cisco, or our national cert, but don't trust small, young cybersecurity company, which became to share also the indicators of compromise. And for now, we have almost each enterprise have own IDS or CM, security information event management platform, which aggregates the data from internal sources. I'm talking about the logs, network telemetry, or network traffic in general. For example, in the view net flow and so on. Maybe some events from installed agents and so on. So we have internal data flow, and we have external data flow with attributes, with indicator of compromise. And the task, the goal of our CM and IDS to compare these two flows and try to find, for example, based on string search analysis or statistical analysis or some behavioral characteristics up to your system and its configuration. But the thing is, if our flow, internal flow, changed with time, external flow changed with time, but retrospective data with IOC states should be checked. What does it mean? It means that we have a problem of amount of data to compare, to correlate, to analyze. And the lifetime of various available attributes are not the same. Yep. So I mean that IP address changes. Domain names could be sold, yep, and get used. Maybe a domain was stolen, but returned to the owner, and so on. So a different lifetime, different confidence. For example, file hashes, they are okay. They're the same, but for example, legal file could be embedded to the malware recognized as indicator of compromise and should be deleted. Otherwise, what we will have? We will have some problems. For example, first of all, false positive generation. This related to the IP addresses, MAC addresses, sometimes domain names, sometimes file names, etc. I could remember the case when looks like it was WannaCry, when file being kill switch for WannaCry. So this the presence of this file means that computer is already hacked. Yep, and there is no reason for new sample of WannaCry to be launched. But this file was recognized as indicator of compromise, and some network administrators, system administrators, have deleted it. So WannaCry launched it again. Second thing, that we could have non-efficient storage and computation facilities using. Even okay, if we for storage we pay for each megabyte, yeah, indicator of compromise or indicator of attacks, they're not so big. They have not so big data to store. But if we talk about the computational facilities, it became a problem because different CMs have different licenses, and one type of the license based on events per second, EPS, but this what the event per second could be calculated or could be held. How much data we should check? If we need to check each event with growing set of indicator of compromise, it became not efficient. It will take time. So that's our external problems. If we talk about the understanding of IOC and the ALF life cycle, we could assume that they have different decay characteristics. So in math, it looks like decay function. Yeah. For example, if we have hash or we have host name, they should be they have different importance for us. during the 1 month or during the several hours. Yeah. So one of the best approach that I had ever seen was provided by, again, by the MISP. They have always taken it into the account. And during the threat hunting and detection of threats, they have provided the next statements. First of all, attributes, means indicator of compromise or indicator of attacks, should be evaluated each time, starting from the beginning, time of first scene, first detection, and at the end of the lifetime. The using of IOC should be based on its evaluation of its quality. Quality or base score should be evaluated based on confidence of the source. Yep. Attributes of this attribute, sorry for tautology, it looks like a taxonomy of the attribute. Yeah. And of course, time. I place a time between first scene and last scene. Of course, sometimes indicators of compromise should be deleted, or let's say not taken for active correlation. Of course, from the MISP perspective, it should be done when the basic score or quality of indicator should be equal, 0, or less than some value. It's up to you as user of this data. Less than, if we have, for example, from 0 to 100, less than 50, less than 50% of using, etc. But very important thing that score should be reset upon new sighting. Means that if indicator of compromise was found again, the evaluations should be started from beginning. And of course, the evaluation should take into account decay function, decay rate. So the speed which this indicator should be decayed. If you talk about the IP addresses, they have speed in dimension of hours, hashes, months, and years. Yep, different, as I said, different nature of these attributes. And the MISP already has built-in approach to evaluate these things. What the approach is? Don't be afraid, don't scare, it's a little math. Just some formulas that represents the approach of MISP. I suggest you not to take into account the formulas because it's a little bit theory, but take a look to the graph. These graphs represent this function, decay function of decay of basic score, and you can see that down left graph showed you the decay function of IP address with around one day, 24 hours, it became no sense to store it, for example. Or if you talk about the long indicators of compromise, not on the hashes, but could be domain name. Yep, if this domain name was generated with GJ domain generation algorithm, in this case, it will have not sense even from some, let's say it will make sense to store it during the months, because who knows who was the owner of this domain? If domain was not redelegated or kicked off from the DNS database, attacker could still have access to manage it and could use this domain in future attacks. The domain was generated by GJA, it has no meaning, so it will not be used by legal users. So we could save it for a long day. But we still have some questions and contentions. What I'm talking about? First of all, as you say, as we already mentioned, the basic score should be evaluated based on source confidence. So we need to trust or platform to approach its decision. For example, if we have MISP by default configuration, all right, we believe their approach, we believe their evaluation. All right. Some platforms I'm talking about the threat intelligence platforms, they have based their approach not only on evaluation according to the decay function, etc., but also about the reviews, about the opinions of their clients, customers. So if client got this indicator of compromise and provides the review that, all right, I was seeing this indicator, it's really true and it's 100% quality, all right, so overall score will grow. That's it. But as I said, we need to trust the customer, our partners, let's say, in this vendor sharing platform. And today we have some scientific researches that represent the idea when quality of indicator of compromise or quality of source of indicator of compromise could be calculated by consensus based on some approaches from blockchain industry. All right, and as I said, reporter activities. Some platforms even do not provide own evaluation. They just calculate average score based on reporters' activities. As I said, reviews, likes, etc. But in this case, we need again to trust the reporters, and sometimes they could make mistakes. In case of WannaCry, as I said, the skill switch file was a good example of it. So, what we could do with this, if we have, if our maturity level is enough to tune our own threat hunting, our own threat intelligence process. So if we have already passed this way with using the indicators of compromise, indicators of attacks from the platforms. Take a look. Lifecycle management is really efficient for effective threat intelligence. I'm talking about the lifecycle management of IOC, of course. It should be a continuous process, and it should guarantees you that IOC and IOA are valid and useful. And in general, it will save you money. We have already passed in some industries, in some, let's say, corporate infrastructures, we have already passed the point with just gathering the indicators and import to the CM and correlate the activities. So it's already passed away. We need to enforce, we need to tune our threat hunting and threat intelligence platform, process to be more efficient in general, to save money. How could we do it? Of course, we need some approaches, model. And I could suggest you to use US Department of Defense model that was published around 15 years ago, but it still works. Take a look. We have two passive actions during our cyber risk treatment. We have discover as action of historical look at the data when we got indicator of compromise taken to the perspective to the databases. All right. And we have detection to detect. Yep. That's with our CM or IDS, also passive actions. Yeah. That passive according to the attacker, from the attacker perspective, because we just analyze the activities. We not produce activities. We analyze the activities and trying to detect something. Yeah. All right. And how we could, if we have detected, what we'll use in the future, what will be the next step. It's interesting, but all these activities also starts from D. Deny, disrupt, degrade, deceive, destroy. 5D. The deny action prevents the event from taking place. Yeah, just blocking by firewall. or quarantine as antivirus. Disruption makes the event fail as occurring. Yeah. It's the same also example of quarantining of the memory of the process. Degrade. Frankly speaking, degrading will not fail the event, but will slow down, for example, network bandwidth or process and give us a time, because attacker doesn't know about this, and we have a possibility for additional actions. We win a time. Deceive. Yeah. Just to decept their or his activities, to understand their intentions, etc. And destroy. Of course, it's not for defenders. For us, it's more for cyber police, for security services, for military intelligence, etc. But sometimes it's possible. Example: it's Israeli response for cyber attack from sector Gaza around 3 or 4 years ago. I'm talking about the case when their infrastructure was attacked by hackers, and they have sent a missile, a rocket, to the building with these hackers. Destroy. That's it. Okay. Yeah, it looks like, more theoretical, but Lockheed Martin, in article I suggest you to visit, just explained how it could be, yeah, and how we could apply this 7D approach to the cyber kill chain model. Yeah, how we could detect, deny, disrupt, degrade. The destroy, as I said, is more offensive and doesn't always permit. All right. So how we could base how we could tune our threat intelligence threat hunting process with help of let's say with improving the life cycle of indicator of compromise. Take a look. There is no really silver bullet or golden bullet, but we have 7 steps, mostly focused on detection, yeah, and discover. First of all, we need to have our own intelligence platform or deception platform, or at least honeypot, honeynet, or something like that. We need to evaluate the quality of indicator, not only based on the score provided by sharing platform, but relevancy to our organization. How likely it could cause false positives? If we have some test environment, we could try to test it. Do we have capabilities? So, readiness to consume the indicator. After that, we should apply for discover. Yeah, let's check it in previous time. We could apply detect, update IDS or CM. And frankly speaking, this is the most frequently used step, single step, yeah, but should not be single. We could apply both discover, detect to understand it. Yeah, we could understand the benefits. Understanding the benefits or evaluation of benefits of this indicator, it's a complex task. I could suggest that sometimes indicators could be really related to the real incident, but this incident could be evaluated or assessed not right way. It will take time. It will waste time of security professionals to resolve it. Yeah. And as far as you know, some incident should be left unresolved. And of course, we could share this, our understanding, our verification, our evaluation to other community to take into account. So take a look. Evaluate the quality. The second step looks like most important step in this tune, because all others, this or other way we have already applied in our infrastructures if we have at least CM or IDS connected to the some threat intelligence or threat hunting providers. And today, as far as you see, we need to have own platform to evaluate. It could be test environment, it could be honeynet, honeypot, something like that. Frankly speaking, it's a new approach, even not new approach, it's the next step for the cybersecurity. And we have called as security readiness shift left. What does it mean? Shift left is an approach mostly described in secure development life cycle, when security testing, or at least testing, became much earlier than product is ready. So we began security testers began test even before product, even some company be ready. Everything starts from requirements. Requirements also need to be tested. So similar to this, we have security readiness shift left. This means that we need to be ready, not only in just by process, but technically. We need to have, as I said, if we talk about the evaluation of IOC or any other attributes, we need to have our own evaluation platform, deception platform, threat intelligence platform, or at least something looks like honeynet or test environment. The same situation for the cloud environments. We need to, we already discussed in our previous breakfast seminars, the forensic readiness. Yeah, the same for threat intelligence readiness. We need to allocate resources, data, time to be ready. And from my perspective, we have already, let's say, this approach is suitable for the enterprise infrastructure, which maturity level is high. When all previous improvements has already done. So this, low-hanging fruit, that low-hanging fruit approach was already passed. And after that, you need to shift left your threat intelligence, threat hunting, to be able to evaluate the cybersecurity indicators of compromise. Okay. So, any questions? You are free to ask in chat. Yep. And any questions, guys, with this? No? All right. So, short reminder that we have our upcoming courses in our PROMIS project. We will start and 4 new courses: development of security applications, DevSecOps, and we'll talk in this course about this shift left approach, but in security development. We'll talk about the security inventory for software development. It's a small course for 3 credits. Applied cryptography, more theoretical but strong. Security for critical infrastructure or operational security, yeah. And my favorite, web system security, that have already been applied previous year. All courses designed by professionals, given online and is flexible scheduling. Let's say 25% of study pace and free of charge university credits. If you have any questions about the applications, how to apply, etc., feel free to contact us or Nina Wenberg and Anna Eriksson by emails on these slides. And thank you for being with us this morning.